Months into a so-called restorative process, the man at the center of one of Indiana's most disturbing church scandals is scheduled to return to the pulpit, and the family members who kept the lights on while he was gone are already packing their bags. Welcome back to Anointed TV, the channel committed to ministry accountability and the truth that the church deserves to hear. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell because we cover stories that many in Christian media would rather leave alone. Today, we are returning to Life Church Indiana, the powerful multi-campus Assemblies of God congregation connected to the state's Christian, nationalist Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith, and the story has just taken another significant turn. On June 2nd, an email obtained by investigative journalist Tom Lobianco of 24 Site News revealed that Mike Mileto, the man who stepped in as interim lead pastor on March 1st, has announced his resignation. Along with him, his wife, who is Nathan Peternel's own sister, will also be stepping down from her pastoral role. Mileto wrote, after much prayer and reflection, I have decided to step down from my role as interim lead pastor of Life Church. Our board has reached out to the district for support as Pastor Nathan and Christina finalize their restoration process, and as was announced last week, we anticipate their return during the first week of July. Mileto wrote in the June 2nd email, after more than 26 years of vocational ministry, we believe God is inviting us into a new season, likely a year or more, to step back and invest in our own family in the same way we have been privileged to invest in his family for so many years. Now, that's the official language. And we want to be fair. 26 years of ministry is a long time, and we don't presume to know everything behind their decision. People do enter personal seasons of rest. That's legitimate. But here is what we have to be honest about. This is the third campus leader across Life Church's 4-campus network to resign since the start of the year. The Children and Youth Ministries leader resigned in January, and by the time Mileto walks out the door, the only campus pastor still standing in his role will be Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith, the very man who laid hands on PETERNEL from the stage in December and, in a recent interview, claimed PETERNEL never made any intimate videos at all. Let that land for a moment. The family member who stepped in to hold the church together during a scandal is now stepping out, right as the man at the center of that scandal prepares to step back in, and that brings us to the headline. According to the same email, Nathan PETERNEL is expected to return to Life Church leadership in the first week of July. Life Church posted an unsigned statement on its website saying, after a season of rest and renewal, Pastor Nathan and Christina are preparing to return to ministry, and we're looking toward the first week of July as that time draws near. We're grateful for this restorative season and for the ways the Lord has been strengthening them, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. As they step back into the life of our church, we invite you to do two things. Keep them in prayer during this time of transition, and reach out with words of love and encouragement. A note, a card, or a kind word means more than you know. Thank you, Life Church, for the grace and faithfulness you've shown throughout this season. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him. Romans 15:13, Life Church Leadership. We want to say something carefully and directly here. Restoration is a biblical concept. We believe in it. The church has always held open the door of repentance and return for individuals, for leaders, for anyone who genuinely seeks God's grace. That door should never be closed. But restoration and statement are two different things. And what is happening at Life Church right now does not have the shape of cautious, accountable reinstatement. It has the shape of an institution returning to business as usual, on an accelerated timeline, with minimal public transparency, and with the people who asked hard questions either gone or on their way out. For those who are new to this story, here is the essential background. Nathan PETERNEL is the lead pastor of the multi-campus Life Church in Indiana. His 24-year-old son, Jonathan PETERNEL, was arrested in October 2025 on felony counts related to CSA crimes. During the investigation of his son's case, investigators with the Hamilton County Metro Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force found more than 50 photos and videos of his parents engaged in intimate acts on Jonathan's phone. Jonathan PETERNEL was subsequently sentenced to 6 years in prison after pleading guilty. Following an internal investigation, the Assemblies of God Indiana District leadership conducted a formal inquiry and concluded that certain behaviors did not meet ministerial standards, and PETERNEL was invited to enter a structured restorative process beginning March 1st. The restoration process within the Assemblies of God is generally reserved for ministers who have been removed from leadership. Yet PETERNEL in his own email, stated he would be retaining his leadership position, an unusual framing for a process of this kind. And there are questions that, to this day, have not been answered publicly. Conservative commentator Rob Kendall, who has expressed support for Peternel's ministry record, raised three-pointed questions. Why was Peternel's son allowed back in the church where young ones were present after the raid on his home? How did the son come into possession of his parents' intimate videos? And did he have access to photos of young ones at the church? And why did Paternal and Micah Beckwith attempt to quietly delete select episodes of their podcast? Those questions remain unanswered. We cannot discuss Life Church without discussing Micah Beckwith, the sitting lieutenant governor of Indiana, an unordained, unlicensed campus pastor whose political career has been built, in no small part, on this church's platform. According to a directory search, Beckwith is not ordained, licensed, or credentialed with the Assemblies of God, despite leading one of Life Church's campuses for 6 years. In a secret April meeting of church members called in response to police body cam footage being published, Beckwith sat in the audience and directed other members to call and complain to the Assemblies of God regarding Peternel's suspension and restorative process. This is a sitting state official using his influence within a congregation to push back against the denomination's own accountability process. That is not a pastoral act. That is a political act dressed in pastoral clothing. And the congregation has noticed, because people keep leaving. Here is what we want to say to anyone who is still in a Life Church campus, or who has recently left one. Your confusion is legitimate. Your grief is legitimate. If you walked away from that church months, from the pastors who resigned, from the families who left quietly, from the 100+ members who reportedly departed since this scandal began, your departure is not a failure of faith. Sometimes leaving is the faithful act. The question the church must always ask in moments like this is not simply, can a leader be restored? The deeper question is, who is bearing the cost of institutional continuity? And in this situation, the answer appears to be the congregants, the youth who were subjected to inappropriate pastoral questioning, and the children whose cases sit at the horrifying center of this story. Life Church has announced that a State Assemblies of God official, Scott Burr, will serve as interim lead pastor in the gap before Paternal returns. Whether that process has genuinely produced the transformation and accountability that reinstatement requires, that is a question only God fully knows. But the church on earth has a responsibility to ask it out loud and to demand a credible answer. We will continue to watch this story, and we are praying, genuinely, for every person whose faith has been shaken by what has happened in Noblesville, Indiana. If this video helped you think through what accountability in the church should look like, please share it with someone who needs to see it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, the church deserves better, and so do you.